There we go. I am recording now. So again, folks, welcome to this event. And we are joined today by Lisa Amstutz, who is the author of Our Christmas Tree Farm. So Lisa, let's start off with just, can you just give us a little bit of an introduction to you and the specific book? Where did it come from and how did you get to Our Christmas Tree Farm?
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. And just a little apology. I just told Kevin I couldn't get my printer to work, so instead of my notes in front of me, I'm going to have to look off to the side a little bit so that you wonder why I'm looking this direction. It's because my notes are there. Anyway, I'm excited to be here with you all today and talk about Christmas, even though it's not quite here yet. Feels like it's time to start thinking about it. So, my parents both grew up on farms in Iowa and in Oregon, and although they left the farm and they ended up being teachers, my dad was a professor of entomology and my mom taught GED classes. But they never quite seemed to be able to leave the farm. So throughout my childhood, we had all sorts of little side hustles, I guess you'd call them now. We didn't call them that back then. Little enterprises. We grew Christmas trees for a while. We grew pumpkins for a while. We had emus for a while. We had llamas for a while. My brothers grew bean sprouts and sold them to the grocery store. So we just had all sorts of little side things going on. And those were just really special and memorable times for me. Just working together with my family and that connection with nature and with the seasons that we got, out there snipping off pumpkins and trimming Christmas trees and whatever it was.
Just with their diverse background, where did you grow up?
We landed in Ohio when I was in 4th grade. We kind of moved around before that, but yeah, been in Ohio since.
Yeah. So wow. So yeah. Even being able to see different parts of the country, visiting family and friends from your parents' generation. So
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no,
I just
that's fine.
I figured
Yeah,
it might be something.
My dad lived on a grass seed farm and mom was on a corn farm. So you have those kind of background experiences as well with agriculture. So anyway, yeah, so it was, like I said, it was a really good experience for us kids. I don't know. I think it was a lot of work for my parents, but probably, I don't know how fondly my mom remembers, but we remember it fondly for sure. So anyway, I guess I could not quite get it out of my system either. So after we were married, we bought an old farmhouse here in Ohio on 6 acres and kind of have a little old McDonald farm sort of thing going here. At the moment, we've got a bunch of chickens, we've got 2 goats, a pony, steer, 2 Great Pyrenees guardian dogs, and a bunch of barn cats, and a random duck that walks around our yard. So yeah, I think that's it at the moment. But yeah, it's just kind of fun. We at one time we did grow a little bit of stuff for farmers markets when the kids were younger, but at this point it's just kind of for ourselves. Do a big garden and have fruit trees and those kind of things too. So
and those kind of things. That's great. So in addition to writing and taking care of the farm and family, that kind of stuff, you also have another job that you do. It seems like to me almost full time. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's sort of my full-time job now. I work as a literary agent for Storm Literary Agency. I started that about 5 years ago. And so now I work with clients to help them get their books published. And that's been really fun and rewarding. And yeah, makes it a little harder to find time to write, but I write on the weekends and the evenings, probably like most other writers do.
Well, and I'm sure that the ideas out there, seeing the vast variety of, I mean, you aren't just in a specific niche for there, but just to see the vast variety, maybe even springing on other ideas that you've thought of driving in the car or something like that. So,
yeah, exactly.
And before becoming a literary agent, did you have an agent, or were you mainly just out there fighting it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it took me a while to find one, but I did sign with Vicky Salvaggio at Storm, and well, she's now, so she was previously with another agency, and she was actually a friend from SCBWI, which we can talk about more, even before she became an agent, and I knew her. So that worked out, and then when she moved to Storm, she asked me if I'd like to be on staff as a literary agent. So yeah, now she became my boss.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that because I know we often have folks that join us that are aspiring writers and have great ideas. But let's talk a little bit about SCBWI, if you would.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with it, that stands for the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. They have chapters all over the world. So there's probably one near you, although some of the Western states, they're a little more, they might have like 3 states together or something like that. But I think Illinois has at least one chapter. Um,
Multiple. We have multiple. Yeah.
okay, I was going to say probably multiple, yeah. So, but they provide um, usually some conferences and events, sometimes virtual events, and just a lot of resources. There's a whole resource guide they put together for children's writers that lists agents and editors and all kinds of how-tos. So it's just a wealth of information and a great place to network and meet other writers. And I honestly chalk most of my things I've achieved in this field up to SCBWI because I showed up at the first meeting. I had started writing before that, and I was writing for magazines and then for the local paper for a while. And a friend and I decided to write a book about local foods, just kind of on a whim, I guess. But anyway, it did get published with a small press, and I thought, oh, I should follow up on this. I should write something for kids about this. And well, I somehow came across SCBWI, and I went to a critique meeting, and I quickly realized I did not really know anything about writing for children. But the lady that was leading it, her name is Lori Lazaron Knowlton, and she, by the way, has a really nice maple syrup book. Anyway, she said she was going to teach a class soon, and so I joined her class, and she just kind of became a mentor to me, and we're still dear friends. So yeah, but I feel like so many of the things that I learned about there, I learned about writing for the educational market, which has been a big chunk of my books, and like I said, I met my agent there and now boss, and I just credit it with everything. So yeah, definitely check it out if you want to get into children's writing.
I encourage you to look Lisa up on the Google and find her website. But you've written a number of books, and you still have to go through that editorial process and that revisions process. Just with Christmas Tree Farm, rough guess, how many times and what did you have to redo to get this published? So oftentimes people are like, finish typing, submit, it's done, I've got a book. But tell us a little bit about that process.
It is a long process. I honestly don't even know how many drafts I went through before I even sent it in. Kind of came about in an interesting way. The editor at Feeding Minds Press, which is owned by the American Farm Bureau, had been in touch with me. She knew about my applesauce day book and kind of was looking for a Christmas tree book in that same vein. And so wanted to see if I could come up with something. So that was a challenge, of course, and it fit well with me because I did have these childhood experiences of working on it, or helping with Christmas Tree Farm. So anyway, I probably go through 20, 30 drafts, honestly, before I show my stories to anybody.
So folks, think of that, 20 or 30 drafts before a book becomes published. This is a full-time job. So in addition to your other full-time jobs. So that's just amazing. So
So then once I sent it in, I began working with the editor, and there was some back and forth a few times there. And we had some different ideas on the ending and kind of brainstormed that for a while. And it kind of ended up compromising on the way it is now. So it worked out in the end. And, they were really good working, had some good ideas for the back matter and that kind of thing. So that was great. And then, I don't know if people are aware of this or not, but usually when you, unless you're a professional illustrator, usually you don't illustrate your own children's book. Usually the publisher assigns or hires a publisher or a illustrator to do that. So there's really no interaction there. So I would see the art as she turned it in, and I had a chance to look at it, make sure that things were accurate and that kind of thing. But basically, the illustrator does their own thing. So.
Well, and I really like one of my favorite parts. You got great back matter, but your author's note at the end. It really does bring home that aspect of how Christmas trees were important to you, and you touched on that a little bit. But my question to you is that is there a little bit or a lot of bit of siblings and autobiographical in this book, either from your current farmstead or your growing up farmstead?
Um, a little bit. I mean, I feel like the sensory kind of things are definitely things I pulled from my memory, some of the smells and sounds, experiences, what it feels like to trim those trees, to mow between those trees. I do usually try to work one of my kids' names into some of my books, so that's always kind of fun. And we did have a dog named Daisy, but it was not the kind of dog that's shown in here, but they thought that one was cuter. So ours was a collie. Anyway, um, but yeah, I didn't get to grow up near my grandparents, which I kind of regretted, but I did want to include that element in there just because I think a lot of farms are multi-generational, and that's kind of something important for maybe kids to know or think about.
Well,
So,
additionally, in the author's notes, you talk about you have real Christmas trees. So, folks, this is important. Those of you joining us online, at the end, I'm going to give away some books, and here's the answer to the secret question. Right? So you gotta follow up and answer this with the secret question. You have real Christmas trees. Do you always have a real Christmas tree, or is that an occasional thing?
we don't always every year. It just sort of depends on the year. We often get our Christmas tree at Thanksgiving when all the kids are home. Our kids are all growing now, they're young adults and off in their careers. So that's kind of a good weekend for us to go. And depending on the weather and whatnot, we do have a fake one we pull out sometimes, but we really do enjoy going to do that as a family and just finding that perfect tree, which somehow always seems so much more reasonably sized when you pick it. I don't know what happens when you get it home. It's like
Well, here's the question, the answer to the question. You got to hang lights on your Christmas tree. And the big question is, are you a colored light fan or a white light fan?
I usually go for the white. Yeah, kind of like that look, and I feel like it shows off our ornaments well, but I do often put a string of colored ones just around the door frame or something like that for fun. But yeah,
There you go.
mostly
Well,
white.
that's the answer, folks. White lights on the secret question, the secret password, white lights. That's it. So big old house. I didn't know that. I too we live in a house that was built in the 1870s, and
Mhm.
uh, so we have 17 3-foot Christmas trees or above in our house. So and they're all
Wow.
white. There is all warm light everywhere. No color to begin with. So
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
But I agree. I'm a fan there. I was going to try and convert you if you were a colored one. My daughter, when she was living, she often put colored lights around her room too. But that's
Mm.
really exciting. So that's our prize question. But how about a line or two in the book that stuck with you or came easy, or one that came hard? How about a passage? One of your favorite passages from the book. And again, kind of just, I don't want you to read the whole thing, but
Yeah.
describe the whole book through and maybe pick out a passage or two for us.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the book is basically a girl named Kate waking up on her Christmas tree, her family's Christmas tree farm, getting ready to go, getting ready for the day and the customers that are going to come, and helping them throughout the day. And then I get towards the end, and it's finally time that she gets to cut her own tree that she's been growing, or that has been growing since she was born, and about 7 years, which is about an average time that it takes to grow a Christmas tree to full size. And then she brings it in, and there's a little twist at the end. I'll let that one for you. But probably my favorite spread. I really like coming up with little wordplay kind of things, sounds. And for this one, that was probably what took. You think you in your notes you asked me what took the longest to write, and I think that was probably what took me the longest to write was coming up with what kind of sounds do these balers and stuff make. So I have these little videos, which if you, I don't know if you want to see them or not, but
That'd be
um,
great. Yeah.
so I was, listening to these over and over, and because we had gone that the year I was writing this, we made sure to go to the Christmas tree farm and take some videos and pictures. But like, so how do you describe that sound, and how do you make it fun for kids to say? And my applesauce day book, I have a line where they're cranking the applesauce maker, and it goes crank squish, crankety squish, which I just thought was fun to say. And this one that's this spread here with the when they're
Yep.
putting it through the baler, and it
Put it
says
right through the baler. Yeah.
sugar, 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 and then we have rattle, rattle, zip, and then this next one we go sugar, sugar, rattle, rattle, zips. So I could just feel like that would be fun for kids to repeat. So those are kind of my favorite little pieces of putting a book together.
Well, and I think it's so important because again, our artificial trees, there's a market for that, but also the number of folks that can't get to a Christmas tree farm that purchase their real tree in town somewhere. But how did
Mhm.
it get there, and how did it get in that baling apparatus, and what does it? So I think there's that aspect to it, as well. So
Yeah.
in your book, though, not only is it Christmas trees and Christmas Tree Farm, it's also popcorn and cider on the Christmas Tree Farm.
Mm.
Talk a little bit about that. And you brought it up, and I was like, oh, maybe you did have maybe you did do some farm. You sold things from your farm or farmers
Mm.
markets. How about that? Where did that come from? And is this based on a farm that is some of it based on a farm that you go to? Research on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Growing up, we didn't. We just sort of put them out by the road, I think, and put some signs out. But yeah, we've there's several local farms here that we go to get our Christmas trees now if we decide to go cut one down. And so the one of them that I particularly like does have this little gift shop, and in there that always smells so good because you've got this hot cider and you've got this popcorn and lots of other little just fun gifty kind of things. So that's where that one came from. And that one also has reindeer that you can look at and pet. So that's kind of fun too.
The whole aspect of it, exactly. So,
Yeah.
and you talked a little bit about cider, but you brought it up earlier. I want to go ahead and do this. Let's talk a little bit about applesauce day, because October we got Apple Crunch Day coming up here in Illinois. You know, they've harvested the
Mhm.
apples in September. Now it's fall, so people are actually thinking about apples as well as that. Let's talk a little bit about applesauce day. That's how we first came to know you, that kind of stuff. But talk a little bit about that book.
Yeah. So that one I believe came out at somewhere around 2017, maybe something like that. And that was one, another kind of looking back into my childhood kind of book. Something that I grew up doing with my mom was making applesauce, and when I left home, then would bring my kids over, and we'd always get together with my mom and make applesauce, and it was just such a fun family time to do that. Kids each had their little jobs, sorting out containers, and one of them would crank the machine, and they each had their own role, and that was just fun for them, fun for all of us. And then we would end up with a year's worth of applesauce to put in the freezer. And yeah, we're partial to transparent apples, which are ready in the summer, so we would always do it in the summer. But
Oh,
um, yeah, so anyway, so that one just came out of that experience, and it found a home with Albert Whitman, and it's been honestly one of my better selling books. So it's fun to see every fall it gets pulled out again, and new people finding it, and it's really
Well, I
exciting.
think that intergenerational aspect of it, and also in the back of that, you've got the recipe for making. You got a recipe for making applesauce, so there's a great back matter in that as well. But teachers, if you haven't made applesauce in a crock pot too, you can do that in about 4 hours. Started in the morning, and by the afternoon, still have your applesauce. So a great way to talk about that as well. So let's get back to the Christmas tree book though. And in it, folks, you don't need to go to, I don't even have an ag mag on this because you have everything in here. Talk about the incredible back matter that you put in. Again, part of that from I'm sure part of that from the publishing company that wanted to see that, but also from you and facts you might have learned or other things that you didn't know going into your back matter with applesauce, with Christmas Tree Farm.
Yeah, I did learn a lot of fun facts, and back matter's always a great way, especially when you write picture books. You're kind of limited how much you can put in the actual text. So sometimes you get to share some of that fun stuff in the back matter, which is always nice. So yes, some of those did a lot of research on Christmas tree farms and found things I didn't know either too about some of those fun facts and how to how to start trees from a twig, which I will say is a little challenging. It does work, but it is a little challenging. Um, but I think it's cool too to think about ways that you can reuse trees, that you can compost them, that they can become food for goats or whatever, and some people put them in ponds. There's just all kinds of things that you can do that make it a little more environmentally friendly than just throwing it in the trash. Of course, you can buy the ones with the root ball and plant them yourself if you have space to do that. That's always a great way to reuse them too. So, and then we
Well,
kind of
and
ended with around the year, looking at what Christmas tree farms do when it's not Christmas season. So, yeah.
I given what you say, I pulled your website up and I'll
Mhm.
share. Hold on, let me share this. Just what you were sharing here, but off your website, you list author, ecologist, and literary agent. So
Mhm.
that ecology aspect, that environment aspect, obviously holds a near and dear place to you.
Mhm.
This wasn't on the script, sorry, but I
That's
sent her
okay.
some questions we'd talk about. But help me with because I just noticed it yesterday when I was preparing. But I was like, how about that love of science and nature and agriculture? I'm assuming because your father was an entomologist, there was probably that probably had a little bit of it. But help me with somebody born and raised in the middle of Ohio becoming an ecologist. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I went to college and I was always kind of interested in science, and I ended up studying biology in college. I thought I started off pre-med, and then I thought I might be a secondary ed teacher. So I actually did all the coursework for that except the student teaching. And then veered off and decided my senior year that I was interested in ecology, and so I ended up going to grad school for that. So yeah, so
Did
I have
not
a
know
master's
that.
in environmental science, and so yeah, I kind of always saw my life trajectory heading off towards the sciences, and I did work for a few years in various things, but then had kids and stayed home, and then got into writing, and I just never went back to it. So so but I still do write a lot about the sciences and nature and agriculture. It's all kind of near and dear. So
Well,
that's
and
been
that was a question I had as well. I think we can just go there though. But um, the other books you that my question was, you've written a number of other books given your Midwestern background. You've got stuff on machines on the farm and gardening and even smartphones. But the whole meerkat thing, that was a cool one. So
yeah.
Mammal Mania, Amazing Amphibians, the garden ones, that kind of stuff. But I'm encouraging you all to head to Lisa's. I'm going to share just because I can. I'm going to head right to her website. The books that she has, Plants Fight Back, Mammal Mania, but then if you look at the agriculture and gardening aspect, the animal aspect, all sorts of things, that makes a lot more sense. So just because I was like, how did you get to the meerkat thing? So and how did you study those? It was a little easier to study Christmas trees in central
Yeah,
Ohio, but how do
you
you
can
study
find those.
meerkats in central Ohio?
Yeah, well, a lot of my books, it's a lot of research, so a lot of pull a lot off the internet, encyclopedias, museum sites, reputable kind of site, universities, scholarly journals, all those sort of things are considered, you know, reliable sources, and adult books and those kind of things as well. But yeah, in this day and age, it's very handy to have all that at your fingertips and be able to do that research.
And I think that's important for folks to share. I know that you do talks with librarians and teachers as well, and to students. You can reach out to Lisa on her website there at the contact page. But that aspect for students to know that hey, look for that research. And you said that reputable sources, and going to those things, and how can you find out more about that? Additionally, though, down here at the bottom is science and technology, the science behind track and field. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Yeah, so some of the books I do are for Capstone, which is a educational publisher, and they tend to be on assignment. So they'll contact me and say, "Are you interested in writing about this topic or this series?" And I could say yay or nay, but yeah, it's a fun challenge. Some of those are a little out of my comfort zone, or I'm not as familiar with that, so it takes more research. Um, some of the physics ones, I have a brother who's has a PhD in physics, so that's helpful. It's always nice if you can tap somebody to sort of review it if you're not an expert in the field. But um, yeah, I like to learn. I feel like I can immerse myself in something for a little while, just kind of delve into it, and then I'm kind of tired of it, and then I move on to the next thing. And so I feel like I'm sort of an encyclopedia, honestly, like trivia games, and
Yeah,
I
you don't
know a
want to play
little bit
Trivial
about a lot of
Pursuit
things.
against Lisa. Exactly. Good for
Oh yeah,
you.
I
I
wrote a
mean,
book about that.
yeah, from models and robots to gardening to track and field, just the list is incredible. So again, folks, check out our website at lisaamstutz.com. But I know that it's hard. I know that it's hard. But if you had to pick a favorite, what do you think? And hey, your newest one, it's here, so it's bright and shiny, that kind of stuff. Some of
Right.
the others have been around for a while, but what about a favorite one or two, or one that you were really passionate about? Maybe as oftentimes as aspiring authors, you see that as a literary agent. People are very passionate about something, but what else would it be? Or
Yeah. I think honestly for me, it's probably the two top ones would be Applesauce Day and our Christmas tree farm that we talked about here. Mostly because they are more, sort of semi-autobiographical and some memories that are really special to me. And so the other one along with that would be I have one called A Dove Finding a Dove for Gramps. It also came out I think 2018.
2018, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that one is about the Christmas bird count, which is also a kind of a core memory. I remember going on bird count with my dad when I was young, and so it's again it's fictionalized, but kind of that sense of exploring that with a parent and learning, and I still
So
enjoy
for those
birding.
who
And
might not be familiar with the bird count, help us with that.
yeah, so that's a community science project that started about 100 years ago. It was sort of at that time people would do something called like a Christmas side hunt, I think it was, and they'd go out and sort of kill everything they could and see who had the biggest pile. And somewhere along the way, it was just kind of the beginning of the conservation movement, and one guy came up with the idea that how about if we just go out and count birds instead of killing them? And so that got started, and it's all over the world now, I think, at least quite a bit of the world. And so people go out sometime around the Christmas season. It's usually there's some dates between December or something and January something. I don't remember the exact dates, but and there may be a group near you that's doing that, but you can go out and join an account and you just basically log all the birds you can. They upload them, and that helps scientists track bird populations and see which ones are doing well, which ones are not, and that kind of thing. So it's useful. It's actually a useful project for them. They learn a lot of good information from that.
And again, it's a very sweet book. Again, you can see some of that. I was assuming some autobiographical influence there as well. So that makes perfect sense. But how about this? What's next? What do you have in the drawer coming up down the road that you're on draft 10 of versus 30? And
Yeah.
what do we look forward to from Lisa?
Well, there's lots of things in the hopper, but I have one book in the pipeline called Louise Sails the Seas, which is still in the process. It's the illustrator's working on it and all that. So I'm not quite sure when it's going to come out, but it's a picture book biography, and that's a little bit of a departure for me. It'll be my first biography, but it's about one of the early female polar explorers. So that one's kind of fun.
And as you say, picture book biography, so it'll be illustrated or will it be real pictures? Sorry.
It will be illustrated, but there will be some actual photos in the back. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. That's really cool. Sorry, didn't
Okay.
mean to interrupt you, but I'm
No.
trying to, some of those, historic elements, if you have access, we don't have pictures of George Washington, so we understand the illustration part, but very,
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you learned a lot about that as well. So
I did. Yeah. And that was fun to dig into that and do some historical research as well. So the other one that might be of interest with this group I'm actually working on right now a series for Capstone called Down on the Farm. So it's going to be a whole series of books for, I think it's K-3. Each one's going to look at a different animal or farm machinery or something like that. So that should be out, I believe, next year. We'll see.
and those are all children's books that are literally nonfiction. So
Right.
it's like your own K-3 encyclopedia of this is what it is. So around here, and I'm sure around your area, the number of kids that pass a combine or see something on the road once a year, and this is what it is. That's really encouraging. So well, that is really exciting. So With that, we are super excited about this. And, again, we're at 11 weeks till Christmas. It's hard to believe. So, hey, folks, run out and check out our Christmas Tree Farm, Lisa Amstutz. She's been joining us today. I can't recommend this book often enough. This is perfect for the whole holiday season, just to talk about that as we approach the whole holiday season here in Central Illinois. So Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. We are super excited about that and look forward to the rest of your books coming out. And again, I wanted to make sure I know I see Applesauce Day in the far back and behind you, but you can't miss it. I love that book. It's one that we highly recommend, and this is now on our highly recommended list as well. So thank you for joining us. And I wanted to share some of the things that we have that Illinois Ag in the Classroom has. Lisa, you're free to stay with us. If anybody has any questions, actually, I'll let you put those into the Q&A first. Sorry, let's do that. If you have any questions, you can put those in the Q&A and we'll ask those. I should have said that to begin with, but as we do that, I will transition to if there's any other questions, but so we've talked about those and literary. Oh, you did share from a literary agent point of view. There is a couple other you can promote or publicize or cheer on some of the folks you work with. Anybody you wanted to share a shout out for something that's coming up? Because as a literary agent, it's not your book, but you also take a lot of pride and joy when one of your books goes all the way through. So
yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think what's coming out soon, but yeah, several of my authors, Chelsea Tornetto has got some ag books. Ginny Neal has some in the pipeline, and also some recent ones out. Not so much agriculture, but nature oriented very much. Peggy Thomas, you may know Peggy.
yep.
Got some great ag books, and a recent one was Soil and Jackie's
Soil
Garden.
and Jackie's
So
Garden. We're big fans of Soil and Jackie's Garden. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So those are a few, but yeah.
And Chelsea Tornetto, as an Illinois author, we're laying claim to her. She's born and raised in Red Bud, Illinois, Southern Illinois. She's there. We do have a question. Do you end up spending any of your own money to publish your books? Does it cost you to publish a book?
No, it does not. So there's a couple different publishing models, I guess you would say. Some people self-publish, and in that case, you would spend your own money to publish it, and then of course you keep all the profits. So there's some benefits to that model. You have to be good at marketing, which I don't necessarily feel like I'm spectacular at that, so I haven't tried that route. But if you publish with a traditional publisher, where either you send it to the publisher or you have an agent send it, they pay you. You shouldn't pay them anything. So you get usually in advance and royalties on your books. Sometimes it might be like with the educational market stuff, sometimes it's just a flat fee that they pay up front. But no, if with the traditional model, you should only get paid. You shouldn't pay. But self-publishing is a very valid option. There's lots of great ways to do it too now with Amazon and Ingram and online kind of possibilities. So I don't discourage anybody from trying that either. I think that's very valid, but just
with the Amazon and the Ingram option, that kind of stuff, a long time ago, self-publishing, you ended up with not only investing in the books, you ended up with cases of books, and then you put them in your trunk and had to go around and sell them as well. So yeah, that aspect of it. So good question. We'll do that. But as again, don't see any more coming in. But with that, Lisa, again, thank you very much. Your website, lisaamstutz.com. Check her out. If she does, the contact information is there about it. Anytime you'd like to have her work with teachers or libraries as well. I know that's a part that you enjoy as well, meeting the people who are reading it. That's got to be exciting. Sure. So people who are there. But with that, I'm going to transition over to a couple of things that we've got that go right along with this outstanding book. So we'll take this from an ELA perspective and the ELA and English Language Arts and what we've got going on there to how could we maybe incorporate this across the board? And on our website, those of you who are familiar, but if we go to our website, agintheclassroom.org, there are a couple of things that we have that we're really excited about. And our first one is under our Awesome Ag Connection. Under our Awesome Ag Connection. If you're not familiar with Awesome Agriculture, it is akin to Mystery Science. So what we have under our Awesome Ag Connection is you click on Awesome Ag. How old is my Christmas tree? So what we do is we've got a short video, and we actually go out to the Christmas tree farm. So you got the fictitious, you've got the illustrated version here. But on our Christmas tree farm, you actually go out to the Christmas tree farm, and we meet a Christmas tree farmer, and he shows you what it is, and he runs it through. He shows you how they plant it. It's a timed thing and how it all works. So we've got that, and then there's different activities that go with it. Our activity on that is reading rings, and our reading rings literally taking a slice of the Christmas tree and having students count how many rings there are and what happens if the line is thicker or thinner. We also have on our website we don't have an ag mag, and it's not as much back matter as in Lisa's book, but we've got our very own Farm Bite. We've got our very own Farm Bite, which is a scaled down version of our Ag in the Classroom Ag Mag, but it gives you a highlight of Christmas trees. And then we actually meet a Christmas tree farm. We talk about another farm. So we're introducing you to that farmer in Illinois. We're always promoting our Illinois stuff, who sells Christmas trees and what they do. We've got some vocabulary options, discussion questions. Not only do we give you the questions, but we give you the answers too. And then assessments. We've got a reading assessment, review activities, our online game, Kahoot is So 2020. It's actually a booklet. We've got a booklet for you to use that your kids can play after they've done this activity, and a printable assessment as well as some additional resources specifically related to Christmas trees. With that, we also have a couple of our favorite books, a couple of our other favorite books. This will be our Christmas Tree Farm will be joining that shortly. But if you wanted to start off with, we really like Elizabeth Rusch's Z Grows a Tree. It's a Christmas tree book. However, it's only Christmas in the last 3 or 4 pages. Most of the book is about the process that goes along with it. So again, you can go back to your Christmas Tree Farm book, and you've got the beginning of it here, as well as what happens when it comes on the farm. Pick a Pine Tree. Patty Tote, Patricia Tote, Illinois author as well. Her Pick a Pine Tree book. Love this book. The rhyme and how it works together. I did get in trouble with some other states because it actually says, you can pick a pine tree from the lot as opposed to going to the farm to get it. Folks, there are a lot of people that get their tree from the Walmart, right? So I just love that aspect, but it talks about what goes on Christmas tree wise. And then one other one, and this is a personal favorite of mine, and it's Christmas Day in the Morning. Pearl Buck's Christmas Day in the Morning. And with this, our activity and our concept is, although it is it's a flashback. It's a flashback. It is not modern day agriculture. They are literally milking by hand. So we know it's several years old. But a young guy growing up, and he doesn't know what to get his dad. And he's bought him $2 ties. That tells you how old it is. He's bought him $2 ties for the last couple of years. And he just doesn't want to do that. And money is tight. And he decides to do the chores on Christmas morning and surprise his dad. And he's thinking about it. Sorry, gets emotional every time I talk about this, but he's thinking about that as an adult and flashing back and what Christmas Day really meant. So just an awesome one. I cannot tell you, my kids actually read this every day. Still, they're adults now on Christmas before we come downstairs. That's their goal with that. So those are a couple of things, but wait. Yeah, there's more. All right, so there's more. So additionally, we stuck on something, and we have our very own elf on a shelf, and our elf is called Sprout. We don't have anything with Snoop Dogg. We might do some promotion with Snoop Dogg. When I was filming the promo video, I had to film, and we had somebody ringing the jingle bells, and I had to have somebody put in our little elf, and somebody's like, well, I'll come out and help you, but I'm sticking in Snoop. So we've got Snoop on the stoop and Sprout the elf. But our goal with this was, oftentimes in classrooms across the state, across the nation, teachers are trying to encourage this. It's there, but our activities, we've got 25 pre-planned activities for Sprout to get into and cause a little trouble that all link back to agriculture. So if you're going to integrate this, and my kids were too old for Elf on a Shelf, and I'm really glad of that. But if you're going to bring this into your classroom, here's an educational purpose for it. So you can have this, but hey, here's the lesson that goes along with it. And here's what he did. And here's how we can link it back to agriculture. And here's the lesson and activity that goes along with it. So several of them, one of them, they're tied to books. There's dairy, and literally he uses little toys that are around, and you probably have access to those, or another teacher or a family member has access to some of those things. But dairy, there's one on dairy, there's one on cornstarch and what we do with cornstarch and activities that you can use to do it. But it even comes with the notes. Oh, sorry, that's the other side. Even comes with the notes and those type of things. Those are all on our website, aginaclassroom.org, under our blog. And I'm going to share now. I got to click this button. And I'm going to share over here. If you go up to the top under our blog, you'll see last week's, there you'll see it. You'll see last month's Jill Esbaum's interview here, but also our Elf on the Shelf activities. They're all here. That's from 2024, but nothing's changed. It's all there with you. You've got access to it, and you will see how you can integrate all of the materials right here. So the booklet, the printable materials, the printable stuff from Sprout, everything is done for you to go along with that. That's on our blog site, aginaclassroom.org. Click on the blog up here in the corner. Our awesome agriculture is right next to it with the magnifying glass. So as we count down to Christmas, we have a number of resources that are available on our website, our Ag Mags and readers. You've got aspects that go along with all of those extra activities, and our trees. We've got stuff on different. Christmas trees. And another thing that you can do too is if you just type in the top here, Christmas tree resources. So all sorts of Christmas tree resources that'll show you right where it's all at, along with our recommended reading and other activities. This is a pretty cool one, 3D trees to talk about, starts as a pine cone, how it goes into a sapling before it becomes an evergreen tree. That's an easy way to do it. Conifers and pine cones and where it comes from. So just examining what happens with it. Our Christmas trees in Illinois, all sorts of things available from Ag in the Classroom on Christmas trees. Great way to complement Lisa's book. So with that, I am gonna I'll go through this slideshow. Sorry. Now I gotta share over here. Share this screen. I'm gonna share. How old is my Christmas tree? The idea of using the tree rings, that's a great activity. Our next one here on the Christmas tree farm bite, I showed you that. The 3D Christmas tree, the 3D evergreen, an activity. The pine cone adaptations, another one. Some of our books, again, I talked about these. Patty Tote's Pick a Pine Tree. Elizabeth Rush's Z Grows a Tree, and of course, ProBuck's Christmas Day in the Morning did all of the elf stuff. But here is the big thing that you need to know. Here's the big thing you need to know, teachers, those that are joining us. Pull out your phones and scan that QR code, or if you can't get the QR code, if you go to that website down at the bottom there, that QR code from current slide, you got the QR code, and it also says our website here, https://IAITC.co, stands for Illinois Ag in the Classroom.co/Christmas trees. that will take you to a chance for you to earn a prize. I got prize boxes already packed. I'm out of the office tomorrow and Monday, so by 8 a.m. Tuesday, I'll shut off the job form and I'll determine our winners, and we will drop the books. We'll drop it's books, it's activities, it's stuff ready for you to use to integrate Lisa's great book, Our Christmas Tree Farm, right into your classroom. We were talking earlier. It's just starting to feel a little cool here. So fall will be here, and it'll be winter before you know it. And again, folks, we're 11 weeks away from Christmas Day, so things are coming hot and heavy. So as we experience the rest of October and into November, it is time for us to think about Christmas Tree Farms and everything that goes along with that fall, winter, holiday spirit. We got the activities and that kind of stuff to cover for you. With that, I'm going to leave this slide up for just a little bit, and we're going to thank Lisa again for joining us. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited about the book. We got a chance for folks to join it. It is from Feeding Minds Press. It is available on Amazon. It is available at your local bookstore. I'm fine with Amazon, but check out that local bookstore too. Check out your local bookstore, and if they don't have it, ask for it. They'd be happy to get it for you and support those local bookstores. But some of you are going to get a chance to get it in the mail. Fill out that form and get it in, and I'll ship the winners out on Tuesday. But with that, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to keep sharing this for just a couple of minutes as folks go ahead and leave. But if you have any other questions, you can drop that in the Q&A. But again, thank you for joining us. Those of you who do fill out the form will get a certificate of attendance for being here. I'll email that to you. That and $1.50 will get you a bad cup of coffee somewhere. But you'll have a certificate that says you came, and we appreciate you joining us. Look for a special announcement next week. Next week's a busy week for us, but look for a special announcement. We're lining up an author for a November author. We're really excited about a November author for us to join. So with that, folks, thank you so much. Got a couple people saying thank you. Putting in the question, Lisa, they enjoyed it very much. Lisa, we thank you so much. And for the rest of you, have a great, looking forward to the weekend. Have a great weekend. Thanks, folks.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you again,
Bye,
Lisa.
everybody.
Appreciate it so much.
Yeah, no
Awesome.
problem.
Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you
This was
soon.
great fun. Yes.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and end it for the day. And thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks again, Lisa. Bye-bye.